Sardo,
Yeah.
I want Tom Cody.
I mean, man, that's your business if you
I
do.
also want, mostly for his coat.
It is a pretty sweet coat. I also we'll get to that. Hi everybody. That's Stross. I'm Sardo. This is
Well,
the Skeleton Crew podcast.
hi. We watched Streets of Fire because it
We
turned
did.
40 this past week. And I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I don't think either of us have seen it.
No, we didn't.
I mean, I knew about it. I knew it existed. I've seen
I
stuff from it.
I was aware of it, but
But this is definitely the first time I think I ever actually watched it.
yeah, I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it was definitely a movie we had never seen before. But I feel like now that I've seen it, I can agree with the statement of Sardo. How well do you know how this movie did?
How well did it do?
Not well. It came out the same summer as The Search for Spock.
Oh no.
This was supposed to be the start of a trilogy.
Oh no. Yeah, I got that feeling.
It should be noted that this did do well somewhere.
Where?
Japan. Think about it. Think very.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Think how
Yeah.
many times you've seen everything in this movie somewhere else from like at least a game from Japan.
Oh yeah.
Final Fight, Streets of Rage, the works
Oh
of
yeah.
Hideo Kojima. Yeah,
Pretty much every delinquent character you've ever seen in any piece of Japanese media
I
ever.
don't think this started the Yankee movement in Japan, but I wouldn't be surprised if
No,
it definitely
it
helped.
didn't it didn't start it, but I think it had some major influences on the aesthetic.
Yes, it did. Because I know this movie did extremely well in Japan. Quite literally, I saw Kojima tweeting about this movie like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this movie did well in Japan. But yes, we're here to talk about Streets of Fire, the 1984 cult classic movie by Walter Hill, starring Michael Pere, uh, Diane, and hold on, Diane Lane, Rick Moranis is here,
Yeah,
Amy
he sure
Madigan,
is.
and the villain is played by a very young Willem Dafoe in what is probably his breakout role, which is really funny to think about. More on that later. So before I'm just gonna go over what happens in the movie real quickly because we have a lot to talk about, and I feel like we're gonna get bogged down if we just talk about the plot because I feel like that's kind of secondary to what we want to talk about.
The plot is not the important thing here. Like I promise you, without having ever seen the movie, you can kind of guess the arc of the story.
So basically, what happens in the movie is it opens up with the villain Raven, played by Willem Dafoe, kidnapping the rock star Ellen Aim, played by Diane Lane, and in response, Rick Moranis' character, her manager Billy Fish,
Hmm.
hires her ex-boyfriend, soldier Tom Cody, to go rescue her, and he is tagged along with his sidekick, a girl named McCoy, played by the mom from Field of Dreams, Amy Madigan, which is very weird. Like, that's the other movie she's famous for. Like, she's done more things, but that's, like, probably the, like, if you were to ask, like, what are the 3 movies she's named for, that's probably one of them. And I think she's also the
Yes.
mom in Uncle Buck, which is just kind of funny.
Hmm.
But, yeah. So, they go to, like, the rough part of town. They cause a ruckus. They save Ellen Aim. And basically, Raven, played by Willem Dafoe, swears revenge. And that's basically the movie. There's like a big fight in the end, and that's it. It's not one of those movies where a lot happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're looking for like a deep, rich story and like compelling multi-layered characters, you're not going to get it here.
And honestly, You don't need it. Because that's not what we're here to talk about. And yeah, so this was billed as a rock and roll fable from the outset. This movie is highly influential in Japan, and so Sardo, where do you want to start with?
Um, so I want to save Willem Dafoe for like the last bit of it.
There's so much to talk about that has nothing to do with the story or the characters. So I think we should just talk about aesthetic for starters.
Yeah, it's very it's like 50s, but like kind of grungy and like seedy underbelly.
Well,
Kinda,
it's very much like a lot of neo noir stuff from the 80s,
yes,
Blade stuff like Blade Runner, where
but like a strong shot of the 50s.
Which was, in fairness, a lot like Blade Runner, because that's when a lot of like the noir movement in American cinema was happening.
Yes.
So it's like neon noirs, I think, is sometimes as it's called, because it looks like Sunset Boulevard by way of like 1984, and yeah, that's basically what we're looking at. I don't know if you've ever seen Sunset Boulevard, but I definitely have.
I have not.
You'd like it. It's a good movie.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. We might watch it for this podcast sometime if you don't watch it on your own. And then we can talk about it then. But anyway, point is, this movie is, like, the villains are a biker gang of greasers. Yeah, that explains a lot of its influence to Japan's youth movements.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all the cars are from the, like, look like they're from the 50s, but, like, there's a lot of neon, there's a lot of, like, wet streets.
Mm-hmm.
Aesthetically, this movie could only have been made in the 1980s. It also could not have succeeded in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
It's too, like, I don't know how to really describe it. Like, this feels like something that would have done so much better, like, 20 to 30 years later.
Yeah.
In a way, it kind of reminds me of John Carpenter's The Thing. Not in terms of, like, any of the things that make up the movie,
but in terms of like when it would have had its moment.
Yes,
it was not when it was made.
Yeah, it is a movie that would have done better in any other decade other than the Reagan administration.
Yes.
But yeah, this movie is aesthetic as fuck. So this leads to this question to you, Sardo. Who is going? Oh my god, this stage is full of cotton servants.
There was so much going on here in terms of the fashion. I want to give this the little golden trophy man for looks given to us. I remember I unmuted myself explicitly so during the movie I could go, oh my fucking god, when our main character takes off his coat when he's in his first like fight scene, intro scene, when he's in the diner getting into a brawl, and he is wearing under his coat a sleeveless denim vest kind of deal with suspenders over it. And I'm not doing it justice with that description. It's magnificent.
It's a look.
Okay. This would have been so much better if the main character was a butch lesbian. Like, change nothing else, just make him a butch lesbian because, oh, the fashion.
Also, this movie has Elizabeth Daily in it. I was like, I knew I recognized that voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought I heard the voice of Buttercup or the Powerpuff Girls, and I was correct.
You did.
I'm like, she's not. Is she? I'm like, Dottie. I just like to imagine that's the same character in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So when like
the exact same character.
Exact same character. So when Pee-wee goes, "I'm a rebel, Dottie," and I just want to
loner.
I was like, no, you're not. Speaking of movies we have to talk about. But yeah, this movie is incredibly aesthetic. Like, when I say this movie could only have been made in the 1980s, this is what I mean. Like, you don't get a movie that looks like this anymore that's this batshit weird looking in the right way. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just... It's just such a wild look of a movie. So, for those who don't know who Walter Hill is, real quick, because Walter Hill is a rather famous director. Before this, he was also the writer and, I believe, director for the film 48 Hours. Yeah.
Yes.
He that was 2 years earlier. But he's most famous for The Warriors, which was from 1979, which I'm pretty sure you've seen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And really, when you know that, it makes this movie make a lot more sense.
As soon as you told me that, I'm like, yeah.
You
Yep.
you see it in a way that, like, only the guy who made The Warriors could have made this movie. I mean, it also has Deborah von Falkenberg in it, which makes a lot of sense.
Yes. But I think overall, this is just it's a very aesthetically powerful movie. It's very looks forward, and that's fine. That
Yeah.
works.
I mean, it makes sense because, like, much like The Warriors before, it is a very aesthetic movie. Like, same situation. It's like whereas that one's more of like 1970s aesthetic.
This is going back a little bit.
It,
Like,
this,
it is, but not really.
it's like something that, like, you know, what 80s does the 50s look, whereas, like,
Yeah.
the other one was the 70s does the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a lot more sense when you watch them. Just trust us, we know what we're talking about. We know how to serve, apparently. Well, I mean, you do.
Yeah.
I serve sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot less often.
But
yeah, it's there is a lot of looks in this movie. If you want to, like, have a good costume to go in, or, like, dedicate your whole life to a look type of thing, this is the movie for you.
Mhm.
Which leads
Yeah.
to us probably talking about the other thing that adds to the aesthetic, the music, and specifically that opening number, which is great.
It's pretty fantastic.
Nowhere Fast might be one of the best songs to a movie I've heard in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a lot of sense why this would be absolutely ripped off in Bubblegum Crisis like 2 years later.
Yeah.
This would be the second time we brought up Konnichiwa Hurricane, and the last time we even mentioned it in any capacity was the Scott Pilgrim episode we did. That is coincidental. That was not on purpose. Like a year later, it comes back like a hurricane. But yeah, no, the music is very, like, 50s, like, rock and roll. It's also funny because I realized something when I'm watching this movie. I'm like, this is the second movie I've watched involving Rick Moranis in a 1950s inspired musical number.
He just, you know, he kind of leans into it. He looks right for it.
I'm just like, oh, it can't be worse than the one with the man-eating plant, right? Right?
I mean,
for like 2 years later, he would basically be doing the exact same movie, only this time he's singing about his feelings.
yeah, more or less.
It's like, when is he gonna? I was like, when is he gonna break out into Skid Row?
Rick Moranis also kind of serves with his tweed on tweed, like obvious nerd eventual, like, okay, you don't hire your girlfriend's ex, who is much better looking than you, to rescue her unless, like, maybe he wanted to get cucked on purpose, and I don't hold that against him if he did.
I'm
But
pretty
you
I
had to
don't.
know,
In
man.
fairness to the character of Billy Fish, he didn't know they were dating till like halfway through the job. Like he didn't know they dated at any point until afterwards. He just needed someone to rescue Ellen. But it's just
Yeah, but
it is funny though.
yes.
It's this. It is like, huh? Whoops.
No. But he also does kind of rock the look. Like everybody is there.
It is weirdly like everyone looks great in this movie in a way that cannot be easily explained unless you watch. You just kind of have to watch it.
Yeah.
Everyone looks cool as fuck. Everyone is just very aesthetic. Like everyone. Everyone
Yeah.
looks like they belong in this movie. Even the weird side characters who don't matter. Even the extras.
Also, I keep forgetting the main character, the actor who played him's name, but
Michael Paré.
dude looks so much like Jensen Ackles slightly to the left.
You might have to explain that to some people.
He looks like Jensen Ackles, but like just like 90% like him.
That's a really funny.
I feel like that. I feel
You're
like
not-
that explains it very clearly.
You're not wrong. It's just a really funny way to explain how someone looks. Like I'm looking at a picture of them side by side just to like double check.
And I'm right.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's really fun. It's a really funny way to describe a person. But yes, this movie he does look like that. He's like your classic. My favorite part is he talks kind of like, and this tells you when this movie was made. He kind of talks like, what's his?
Eat it, broad.
No, he kind of talks like a weird mix of like, oh god, who's the guy from the 50s? Horrible Without a Cause. I should know who this is off the top of my head, and suddenly I'm blanking. Oh no. Oh, it was a 50s heartthrob. I should know. James Dean. There we go. It's like a weird mix
Yeah.
of James Dean mixed with like John Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's really strange. Also, apparently, he did not get along with Rick Moranis, who kept making fun of him, and he wasn't smart enough to fire back, which is so funny to me. I love that as
I
a
can
piece
see
of
that.
trivia. As a piece of trivia, I just needed you to know that I learned that.
Knowing absolutely nothing about this man, yeah, that tracks.
Rick Moranis outdoes you because he's able to be smart very fast. Do not fuck with
No,
Rick
like,
Moranis; he will bully you.
There is something like I'm gonna say our lead, very handsome man,
Yes.
zero riz, like no
Weirdly-
charisma, no riz.
He's not a very Michael Paré, not a bad actor, but definitely not the most.
He's charmless.
He's weirdly charmless. He looks the part so well, but every time he starts talking, I'm like taken out of it for 5 minutes.
It's that universal experience I think we've all had of seeing somebody like incredibly good looking And then the minute they open their mouth, it's like, well, I never mind.
You, it's like you have the personality of a cardboard box.
He's got a nice smile, though. I'll give him that.
He's
got a
good
smile.
looking, and he does all the physical stuff very, like, as well as like a 1980s American movie's gonna do it.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, there's a reason why, of, like, all the actors in this movie, Michael Paré is the one with probably the worst career.
Yeah.
And that's not even an insult to him. I don't even think he's a bad actor. It's just that...
No. But it's like, looks can only get you so far.
Yeah. You got the look, but you don't got the talent. You're not... You know what you know who it reminds me of? It's like if you took all the acting talent from Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Because, like, you've seen it. Like, you've seen Clint Eastwood movies. I know you have.
Yeah.
Anyone you want to specifically point to as your favorite for this sudden thought exercise I'm about to do?
I do love me some spaghetti westerns. I do love the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I mean, excellent pick. One of my favorites.
I just love westerns.
There's a reason why we're friends. I also really like his movie, The Unforgiven, which is great.
Yeah.
The point is, now imagine the good, bad, and the ugly, but you took away all of... It's still Clint Eastwood, but you took away all of his talent.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of where you'd get with Michael Paré as a lead. Because there's this one scene where Willem Dafoe is like, I'm going to be coming for her, and then I'm going to get you next. And he's like, I'd like to see you try. But, like, drier than that? I don't think I could properly make it sound as boring as he made it sound. I don't think I have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
It works fine as a lead, but boy, this is a strength dex build with no charisma.
We are not here for him.
No, we're not. We're here for his partner, McCoy.
Yes. That's a Stross girl. If I talk a little bit about...
Let's talk about Amy Madigan as McCoy. She's fun, by the way, but she's introduced punching a dude in the face. After getting fed up with his bullshit. It's great.
Yeah, it's like, the minute I saw her, it's like, oh, that's a girl that Stross is gonna lie.
I mean, so did you. In fairness, I wanted that to be made clear. This was like, she was a lot of fun in this movie. What's really funny...
She was, but this is about you.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's like, sure, okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah, she's a Stross girl. She is very much your type.
It's just so funny when you watch it. She's this spunky, like, new soldier on the block.
Yeah, she's like, just like fresh out of the army.
Well, no, he's fresh out of the army. She's fresh out of prison.
Yeah, fresh out of prison. But she was also in the army. But, like, drinking tequila, raising hell. I do like that they didn't do, like, the kind of typical thing of, like, wow, you know a lot about cars and shit. It's like, yeah, I have 6 brothers. It's like, no, she just living her life. Also, exceptional job pulling off a haircut I don't think most people could.
Yeah, no, that's not the most flattering haircut on most people, but she makes it work.
It looks good on her.
Like, not a lot of people could do, like, how would you describe her hairstyle?
It's, frizzy. It's all kind of like, she's got, like, the blunt bangs, and then the rest of it's all kind of chopped to one length. And it's, there's no, like, tapering of the edges or anything. It's just, it's very much like, I cut it myself, and I did not do a great job of cutting it myself.
I will say it helps that most of the time she's wearing a hat.
Yes, but it's actually a very cute look on her, really.
It is. I'm looking at the pictures real quick just to make, like, really get a good look at it. It's like, I mean, she's wearing it well. That's not an easy hairstyle to pull off. Like,
She looks very nice.
compare that to like uh Tom Cody's like not well like perfectly messy hair.
Yeah, like pretentiously disheveled.
Like, if this movie wasn't so sincere with what it is, like, part of the reason why it doesn't come off as pretentious is because there's too much sincerity behind it.
Oh, it's extremely sincere.
It's a like if this was like the part of the reason why you couldn't make this movie today is because the person who made it would be too wink wink nudge nudge with it.
Yeah, like you fuck this shit up the minute you try to get like ironic.
Yeah. This is a movie. This is much like The Warriors. This is a movie you cannot make with any sense of irony. You have to think this is objectively cool.
Yes.
If you do not think this movie, everything in this movie isn't awesome as fuck, you would fuck up this movie immediately.
Yeah, it's like this needs to like the sincere belief that you are making the dopest shit ever committed to film will save your movie almost every time.
And in fairness, Walter Hill described basically the making of this movie was basically all the coolest shit he wanted in a movie as a kid, and like, yes, I that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That absolutely makes perfect, absolute sense. It also is the only time you cast Rick Moranis, and he doesn't do any comedy in the entire movie,
I,
which is
I
so
would not
funny.
say he doesn't do any comedy.
Right. But he's not playing a comedic role. He's not playing a put upon nerd. He's kind of playing a
He's he's playing
surly.
like a fairly straightforward character. He's a little bit of a put upon nerd.
I mean, that's because it's Rick Moranis. He just looks like that. that's why.
Yes, but
That's why he was great in those roles because he already looked like that.
but very very enjoyable overall for that reason. Like I always love stuff that just like there's not a shred of irony to be had. Don't fucking wink at me. I swear to God, don't you ever fucking wink at me, movie maker. Like, I am here for all of this, no questions asked. You know,
the
you
only
know how it
the
is.
only reason why the only winking at the camera this does is when a character would literally wink at someone and its point of view, like, eh? You know, like that's
And
it.
that's different.
And that's different. It's like only when it's like a character bit that doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And also the music is interesting because it's very 50s and not 50s at the same time.
It's yeah, that's actually a pretty good way of putting it, honestly. Like,
You know what it feels like? You know when
huh.
when we had like all those 80s throwback songs, like
Yes.
it's the same it's the pastiche of it.
Yes. The yeah,
It's
I would
Bruno
I think that's
Mars
fair.
doing 80s pastiche, but like
Yes.
40 years ago.
Yeah. It was giving me a little bit of a Kiss Kicker 99.
Yeah. I mean that would make sense because apparently the attackers, because it's Ellen and the attackers,
Mm-hmm.
are actually just the band Face to Face, a new wave act from the 80s. I learned that and I was like, "Oh,
Really
that's neat."
now?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So that's fun.
That is fun. But
So, yeah.
I think,
I
yeah,
think
with that said,
we have
let's
been dodging around the subject matter. We might as well talk about them.
let's get to the thing that we've been wanting to discuss here. Come on. It's
Okay, so we need to talk about the guy who ended up being most successful from this movie, and it's not the members of the Soriel who were good. It
they were
wasn't
very talented.
it wasn't Baby Doll played by E.G. Daly. Elizabeth Daily herself. It's not
Mhm.
McCoy, it's not Billy Fish, Ellen Aim, or Tom Cody, but probably the most notable person in this movie, and most famous. We need to talk about Willem Dafoe as Raven.
Oh, Mr. Defoe. You know, the hairstyle that launched 1,000 Japanese delinquents.
The look that launched 1,000 more Japanese delinquents.
It's if you've not seen a very strikingly young Willem Dafoe
It
in this movie.
it's super weird.
It's so surreal because like okay, Willem Dafoe is one of those guys and I've seen a few over time that they actually manage to look less old the older they get. I
Yeah.
don't know how that works, but it just does.
Well, like, what's
And
so funny is that a young Willem Dafoe looks like a vacuum sealed version of Willem Dafoe.
that's a good way of putting it.
There's no real way to describe it. Like Willem Dafoe is one of those people who, you know what it is? It's like Betty
Hmm.
White, where she's just been old your entire life.
Yes, I would agree. I would certainly agree with that.
And
Yeah.
because of that, seeing him when he was, in his late 20s is really weird.
Yeah, like you show me a young Betty White and I'm going to go, "No, that's not."
Like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah. That's just some lady.
What the hell is this person? And it's like, to give everyone an idea here how like weird Willem Dafoe is in this movie. He is not advertised in this movie. Like
Mhm.
I posted the trailer to you, and Willem Dafoe's not mentioned it once. He had been
Nope.
at that point only in a few other films as like extras.
Yeah, this is like his first big role of his career,
One
right?
of them anyway. Like he was the character of Willie in Heaven's Gate for his first role. That was uncredited. He's in the movie
Yeah.
Loveless, where he's the lead, but that's like
Oh, that's that anime with the yaoi with the guys with cat ears, right? And when they have
no,
sex, they lose their cat ears.
no. The Loveless is honestly the Loveless just
I'm
the Loveless.
sorry, I couldn't
I
help myself.
no.
I would
The
love to
Loveless is
see
a much
Willem
weirder
Dafoe's cat.
movie because you know who made it, but it's definitely not a
Mhm.
movie that they would talk about.
Mhm.
You want to have a wild guess of what actual famous director made The Loveless?
I have no idea.
Catherine Bigelow.
Okay.
Uh, Zero Dark 30, Hurt Locker,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
the much more important and her much better film, Point Break,
Yes.
starring the great and beloved and, ever majestic Keanu Reeves.
Who is always magnificent and who time has not touched even a little bit.
Unless he puts on weight like he did for the Bill and Ted movie to make himself look older. Only time
And
he's
still
ever
looks
looked his age.
magnificent.
Only time he's ever looked his age in recent cinema is that one movie. I'm like, man, he keeps in good shape. But yeah,
But
Willem Dafoe like hasn't at that point had only starred in like one movie. Once
mhm.
again, that's The Loveless by Catherine Bigelow, which is much like this movie, not a movie anyone talks about. Where guess what? I'm pretty sure that movie got him casted in this because guess what he's playing in that one?
What?
A biker.
Go figure.
But yeah, he's other than that, he's been in like a couple of other things. But like Streets of Fire was like the big movie he was in as a bad guy.
Mhm.
And Lord Howdy is he I feel so bad for everyone else in this movie. because he is the best part of this movie.
He's a delight. Oh my god.
Is every time he's on screen, the movie is like 50% more fun.
He had that magnetism from the get-go. I mean, Willem Dafoe has always had, like, he's had that je ne sais quoi. Like, even beyond just being a really fantastic actor.
It helps that he has the face of a villain. With them cheekbones.
Oh yeah, he has the best villain face.
There's, like, the part, since we quoted it, where he goes, I want Tom Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just staring out there with fire behind him. And it's just like, eyes wide open, but he's dead serious.
It's like, oh, sir.
Oh, it's great. And his outfits are all like, he's wearing the weird overalls at one point.
They're okay.
We need to talk about
I want to describe these.
Go
I
more.
want to describe these. They are not just overalls. It is sort of like a combination of like fishing waders meets like PVC underbust corset, because like you don't see his nipples, but I think you're cutting it pretty close. Like, wouldn't you say? Like,
you know what it is? It feels like the exact opposite of what that one scene of Adam Driver in The Last Jedi.
Oh yes, the wide one.
Yeah, but in like a completely different, it's the same type of outfit, but in a completely different direction. It's kind of the only way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they look like overalls. They look like what you do when you go fishing, but they like stop right above
fishing
the nipple.
waders, yeah.
And like his hair is done up in a pompadour, but like very short.
He looks kind of like he's got a bird on his head. If you've seen any sort of delinquent characters in a Japanese anime in the past 20 years, you have seen this hairstyle.
20 years? Like, more like the past 40.
Jesus fuck, I'm old.
This movie's older than both of us.
Yeah. But it's a sight to be seen. He is magnificent. I struggle to put it into words because he is a creature of beauty and grace. And
the best part is, it's not even his best outfit in this movie.
Oh no. Yeah, what would you say is his best outfit?
I would say it's the one in the final fight sequence where it's like kind of like the satin shirt he's wearing.
Oh yeah.
With like the leather biker pants.
That one is delicious. You are correct.
It is so like every outfit he wears in this movie is so weird. But he's making it work, and he comes in with like that jacket with the collar popped.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, I can see how every Japanese delinquent was like, yeah, I want to dress like this motherfucker for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Like, if I had been like a Japanese teenager with authority issues back when that movie came out, the grip that would have had on me.
Like, not just that. Like, I'm just gonna post a picture to you. Like, the one picture that I think kind of exemplifies the look.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's kind of perfect. Let me just... Oh, come on. It's being a butt. Hold on. You can't stop me, Internet. I'm Willem Dafoe. It's this. Like, if I was a teenager with authority issues and I saw this when I was like 13, this would be the coolest shit on the planet.
He exudes cool. I forget, how old was he in
When
this.
they were the movie comes out in 1984, so therefore probably was wrapped up sometime between that and 1983. So he's in like his late 20s because he's born in
Wow.
1955. So therefore he's 20. He's almost 30.
Hmm.
Not that you could tell because he just kind of has that face that makes him look.
Like, not, it doesn't inherently make him look old. It's
It just
just sort of like difficult to pin.
yeah, like he doesn't look. Well, the thing is, at points in this movie he looks absurdly young, and at points in this movie he really doesn't.
Hmm.
Depending on expression on his face. Like he doesn't have his wrinkles yet, so that's why it like kind of makes it like it looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
But he hasn't grayed or started getting wrinkly yet because like you're probably like me and your lasting image of Willem Dafoe in your head is probably like him in the first Spider-Man movie,
Hmm.
which I mean like quintessential Willem Dafoe's sequence
Yes.
is the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Because like the problem is some movies like he looks too crazy. Whereas, like, I feel like Spider-Man 1 is the perfect example of, like, just what he normally looks like, but as villain.
Hmm.
Because, like, you go with, like, The Lighthouse, and that, like, clearly is Willem Dafoe, but he has beard on, so it looks kind of, like, more weird and different.
Uh-huh.
You're just used to him being, like, clean-shaven, just looking the way he does.
But he's always got that sort of look about him that's like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's well, you if you know what Willem Dafoe looks like, you understand what we mean. There's no
But
real other way to describe him other than, yeah.
he's magnificent. And
He is the best part of the movie, and he's not in the movie that much, but yes.
like I'm watching this movie kind of like further validated to me like why I'm just a little tiny bit obsessed with him. Like
Yeah,
not a huge amount, but like a tiny bit.
yeah.
And he's just great. He's easily the best part of the movie. He lights up every scene he's in. He is mm, living for it as the villain here. And he has the charisma. You can see why people follow this guy, even though his name is Raven.
His name is Raren Shattuck.
Just like this fifth grade Gaia Online edgy OC name, and he sells it. I love him.
He is the best part of the movie. He is
Yes.
such a look. And his final fight with Tom Cody is with hammers.
Fucking hammers. Yeah, his
like,
henchman brings out these two hammers, and it's like, okay. It's
like,
like, yes!
oh, it's gonna be a knife fight because Tom Cody has a butterfly knife for some reason in this movie, and he never uses it on anyone. They fight with like railway hammers that you use to put in railway spikes. I'm like, this is the greatest movie that was ever made ever for like 5 minutes. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking like, oh, this guy looks like a bad guy. And then you're like, no, this is amazing. This is the coolest thing that's ever been put to celluloid, ever.
It's dope. It's so dope.
Like, to give you an idea of why this movie is both like... Actually, I should ask you first. Sort of honest opinion time. What do you think of Streets of Fire from 1984 by Walter Hill, starring Michael Perry and Diane Lane and Amy Madigan, featuring
I
Willem
thought it was
Dafoe?
a good time.
I would say this is both I saw someone describe this. I haven't watched the video he did on it yet, but what's his name? Patrick H. Willems
Mm-hmm.
called it the best movie ever for 20 minutes, and I'm like, that is a great way to describe it. For 20 minutes, this movie is amazing.
Yeah. Also, the other thing that I really enjoyed about this was the music scenes. I love a good like concert scene in
Oh
a
god,
movie.
that opening concert sequence is like part of that 20 minutes, by the way,
Yeah.
and deservedly so.
Mhm.
Like, there's a point in this movie where it's just there's a dancer on stage stripping, and she's just there for no reason other than she's there. Also had a look because everyone in this movie is serving,
Yes.
even the cops, who are kind of dirty, but they're in like that classic like 50s cop look, like dress uniform look.
Mm-hmm.
So at least it looks nice and clean and not, you know. I do love with that one dancer. It's like every time we cut back to her, she's in less clothing.
It's like, you know what? You go, girl.
I mean, she's rocking it.
Oh, she's great.
She's
Yeah.
also rocking to music that does not fit what she's doing. But you know what? All power to her.
She's doing like her striptease thing to this like 50s style kind of Chuck Berry number.
It's like it's this rockabilly music number. Not a bad one, mind you. It's just
Oh, it's fine, but
the music is fine. It's just like this is a biker bar in the like in a 50s styled world, and it does not seem to fit.
it's like this is not striptease music. I'm very sorry.
It's not striptease music, but damn it, is she working it?
The song is about as sexual as a glass of whole milk, but
She's working it.
she makes it work.
Yeah, this movie, I think the best way to truly describe this movie is that I really understood how this became huge in Japan.
Oh yes.
Like, the wandering mercenary with a heart of gold, the sneering villain with an army, a beautiful temptress, a cool older sister, the lady who may or may not be a closeted lesbian.
Yeah. The charming tomboy, quote quote, definitely probably a lesbian.
Probably lesbian, or at least bisexual.
It definitely not straight. That woman is not straight.
Yeah.
Don't look at me in the eye and tell me she is.
Rick Moranis' character.
Moranis is there.
Like, it makes so much sense.
The
how this
classic anime staple of Rick Moranis.
I mean, the weak and yet courageous tag-along guy, yeah. Yeah, he is. Like, Jesus Christ, this is anime as fuck.
I would love to see Rick Moranis in an anime.
Honestly, he should be.
He really should.
Yeah.
But
like,
I enjoyed this movie.
I did too. Like, sometimes this movie was kind of losing me, and then the movie would pull me back in, and I'm like, hello.
It's like, hi.
Oh yeah, Bill Paxton's in this movie. I keep forgetting that's in this movie.
He is, yeah.
He's I think he's the cop, I believe. He's one of the cops.
That's right.
He's just like in it.
Hmm?
Like, this whole movie is just like, there's a lot of people who went on to be in bigger and better things in this film, and
It really is.
it's just really funny. What else? I mean, I honestly, I feel like I heard people sometimes call this like the spiritual successor to the Warriors, and I'm like, yeah.
I think that makes sense, yes.
See, Robert Townsend is also in this movie. He's one of the Soriels.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the lead of the Soriels. He looks pretty good in that. He's here too. It's just, this is the type of movie that only works because it's made with no irony like everyone, the person who made it thought this was awesome, and you know what? In a way, he's right.
He is right.
So, what was going to be your lasting impression of this movie, Sardo? Would you recommend it to others?
I would, yes. It's a good popcorn watch.
And you know what the best part is? It's PG.
It,
I mean,
don't watch this with your children.
I mean, it makes sense. You've seen 16 Candles where they spend like, hell, 16 Candles is from the same year.
Yeah.
In that movie, they have an extended sting where it's talking about one of their friends in the shower while she is showering in full view. That movie's also PG.
There's titties in this movie.
Not a lot, admittedly. Very brief. There's a lot more butt in this movie, actually, if we're being supremely honest.
There's ass and titties in this movie.
Not a lot. I don't want people to think that this isn't. There's a lot of TNA, but it's definitely a PG movie from the 80s where it's surprisingly a lot more everything than you think it is.
Yes.
I believe this is part of the reason why PG-13 became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, good movie. We had fun. Definitely very aesthetic.
Oh, yes.
This, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, 2 weeks from now we've come up with, like, ideas for characters to belong in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's time to draw our OCs like they're in Streets of Fire.
It is good stuff.
We're gonna be doing that, aren't we?
Probably so.
Yeah, we're predictable. Anyway, Sardo, before we close out tonight, I have a question for you.
What?
How you been watching?
I've not been watching a lot lately. I did pick up something that I just started today. I didn't get to read a whole lot of it, but I'm reading Stephen King's new short story collection.
Oh, how's it been so far?
You know, it is not bad. It's... I mean, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna have to read a lot more of it before I can form a solid opinion. It's called You Like It Darker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always had kind of like a fairly warm relationship with Mr. King's works. I still think Joe Hill's writing, his son's writing, is much better. I think Joe Hill writes women better, for one thing. But I think in his old age, he's gotten a little more like... His stuff isn't as extreme, but there is a lot of thought to it, and I think he's maybe done a little better depth-wise now that he's not using coke. But, though I will say Maximum Overdrive is the movie of all time, and I mean that very genuinely. I love Maximum Overdrive. Fucking good movie.
His creativity has gone down the window, but god damn it, is probably the rest of his life gone much better.
Not even his creativity. He's reined it in a little more in a lot of ways, and that's fine. I'm looking forward to reading it. Not bad so far. We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I'm still doing all the same things I have been doing, but I will mention, keep forgetting to mention that I've been also watching a lot of Oh My Goddess.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I also picked up The Sims 4 because apparently that's just free off Steam. You can just get it right now, Sardo. Right now.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's also apparently absurdly easy to mod. As someone who's mod games before, look at you, Alcat. That takes a while.
Yeah.
It's like, modding games, actually kind of hard if you don't know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Modding The Sims 4, stupidly easy.
Good to know.
Yeah. You can You can just add mods to that like it's anybody's business.
It's good stuff.
It's the good stuff, baby. But yeah, I haven't been doing much difference in the past 2 weeks because, well, none of us have done that much of interest. But sometimes we pick up new things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna say right now is we had a good time.
That was fun. I'm glad we did this. And this movie is available through the Internet Archive. Am I right?
Okay, there's 2 versions. We watched the Blu-ray version. You can watch the older, like, definitely a VHS rip version.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because that one opens up with a advert for Conan the Destroyer.
Which, I mean, might be an added bonus.
I mean, you get to see Grace Jones in Conan the Destroyer for like 5 minutes.
Fuck yeah, that's right.
But, like, that's about as good as it's gonna get because I'm gonna be super real here. There's 2 things that are good about Conan the Destroyer. Grace Jones is in Conan the Destroyer, and the soundtrack to Conan the Destroyer.
Yes.
That's about as good as it's gonna get. First Conan movie is actually really good, not Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah, no.
Just to be clear.
But Grace Jones is there.
Yeah, Grace Jones is there and looks hot. I mean, that's kind of what she does, is... Other than having the world's hardest photograph. That's kind of just her thing.
You can watch this movie for free.
Yeah. Or you can buy it. I want to know what's on... like... the extras, because I definitely want to hear more about this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like this movie,
I would love to know more about the making of.
Yeah, this movie is so nuts. Like
it's bonkers.
It's bonkers. I need to know more.
Yeah. But it's really good. Also support the Internet Archive.
The archive.
Support the Internet Archive. They do a lot of good work, and preserving this movie for your viewing pleasure is just one of many things they do.
Yeah, they have the entirety of like the 90s water margin adaptation with subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Which I need to keep, which I've been meaning to watch. You know. But yeah, I would definitely say our final thoughts of Streets of Fire gets a thumbs up from us. It's definitely not, like, the best movie we've watched on here. Why do you think that has been?
Oh.
Not the best thing we've watched. This, actually, let's see. Hold on. I'm looking at our movies we have watched. I'm looking at our list. Let's see. We've watched the Yakuza movie, which has been in the news because there's a new Yakuza TV series coming out, which has been weird to think. Can they bring back Kishitani, actually, to play Majima again?
Oh, please.
Like,
yes.
I only say this, and we'll probably talk more about it when we learn more about the show. I feel like that's fair for us to say.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Kishitani, who is the... let's see, I think his name is Goro Kishitani, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Goro Kishitani, who is still alive, so he can be in it. I want that to be made abundantly clear. There's nothing stopping him from being in this movie, being in this TV show as Majima. I don't care if he's, like, too old for it now. Like, because, you know, it's supposed to take place, like, 20 to 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't give a shit. He's still working. No one else can play Majima better than that man. I don't care if the eye patch is on the wrong side.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter at all.
He is the best part of that movie. Whoever's making this is your chance to rehire Goro Kishitani to play the role that he clearly was designed to play.
Yeah.
I need him back. We need him back. We need him back, damn it. This is my one. Like that. Nothing is funnier than the scene where he's in the hallway and he has the eye patch looking out. It's like, I found you, Kiryu-chan.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, no, he was perfect for that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the new Yakuza series. Like, I'm actually genuinely like, I'm kind of excited for it. Like,
Yeah, no, I definitely want to see more before I have any real definitive things to say. I will say the guy playing Kiryu looks a little young.
He does.
But considering the series is supposed to take place both in 1995 and like 2006, I'm willing to kind of like let it slide a little bit. Because, you know, with some good makeup, it can make him look a bit older. Because, like, part of the funny thing about the Yakuza series is that everyone's kind of just old.
Yeah.
Like,
it's old, man.
It's a bunch of old guys, and, this part of the problem with some Japanese actor choices nowadays is that they all look a little bit too youthful. I blame the idol industry.
Yeah.
Personally. But we'll talk about this more in depth about, like, what we want, what we hope to see, other than Goro Kishitani. We want him back.
I would like that.
We'll talk about it more when more is revealed. I think that's fair.
Yes.
They just announced it and who is starring as Kiryu, and that's like 2 things.
Yes.
That's not an episode, and we're going to have a lot to say, probably.
But yeah.
Yeah, so,
I'd say that's
Sardo,
about it.
would you like to start plugging your socials?
Yes, so you can find me at Autopsy Garlands on Twitter. That's my main account. Marquis Belial is my art account. You can find that in my bio. I'm open for commissions right now. I've got a few in the works at the moment, but I've got 2 slots still open, so hit me up.
Yeah.
I'm on Blue Sky at Uncle Death, and also on Twitch at Uncle Death with a K. I stream on Mondays. I do art. Stross is there. You're usually there. You're not going to be here the day this drops. Am I right? Because you're going to be
probably
on vacation.
not, but I might be.
Okay. Well, Stross may or may not be here. We shall see.
But usually,
but either way,
99%
usually
of
you
the
are
time.
there, and it's good fun. Yeah. You can follow Stross at Almighty Stross across the board on Twitter, on Blue Sky, and on Twitch. You usually stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, but you also have plans coming up, as previously mentioned. So
yeah, and I will be streaming on not this coming week, but the 16th we'll be back with a new game. SMT5 Vengeance will be out, and in my person. I have it coming. I've already ordered it, and because I won't be there. But anyway, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
All right.
Yeah. I'm Almighty Stross across the board at all those places. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday on a normal basis.
And yeah. Well, everyone, thank you for listening. Go out, watch Streets of Fire.
Watch
Good
Streets
shit.
of Fire. And then get Nowhere Fast stuck in your head for the rest of your life. It's worth it.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. And I still want Tom Cody's jacket.